Welcome you and all to another episode of the Global Latin Factor podcast, where we talk about, say it with me, Latino everything. Thank you for being here. Another show, another episode. We bring you another amazing story. If you have not done so, go ahead and subscribe, leave us a comment, hit the notification bell so you can know when we release new episodes every week at Wednesday, 6 p.m. Central Time. You have a new episode. Today, we have an amazing individual. She's an artist, digital artist out of San Diego, owner of Arte De Luz, where urban art and custom creations come to life. Lucy, aka Luz Maria Clayton. Hello, how you doing?
What's up? I'm doing great, and I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you for allowing me to interview you. I know that you're all the way in SD, San Diego, and the beautiful magic of, we still challenging a little bit going through Zoom, but we're still able to talk, so that's pretty awesome. Let's go ahead and get started. First of all, we're going to go ahead and start with a segment that I like to call Preguntas al Chile. Preguntas al Chile. Rapid fire questions. You be like this, you like that. If you have not subscribed, as I mentioned earlier, go ahead and do so you can see all these great graphics that Carlos put together. Luz, are you ready, Lucy?
I'm ready.
Here we go. Everybody says that, but some people get choked up. Tacos or tortas?
It depends from where.
Depends from where? Do you have a particular spot that you go to where you're at?
Taco Lounge, tortas.
Uh-huh.
Tacos El Gordo, tacos.
Tacos, okay. Do you have a Tacos El Gordo too over there? I think it's a thing.
Yeah, we do.
I think it's a thing in Vegas right now that they're very popular right now.
Okay, yeah, they're the bomb. They taste like TJ tacos, if you heard of that.
Tijuana tacos?
Yeah.
Wow, that's dope. Okay, corn tortilla or flour tortilla?
Corn.
Okay, gorditas or sopes?
Gorditas. Sopes.
Sopes? Mexican coca or jarrito?
Mexican, yeah.
Awesome. Agua de horchata, Jamaica or tamarindo?
Definitely Jamaica.
Jamaica, yeah. I think Jamaica right here too. Salsa verde or salsa roja?
También depends from where, but salsa verde usually.
Yeah, same here. Team salsa verde all day. Menudo or pozole?
Depende quién lo hace, pero menudo.
Menudo? It's important. That's very important because a lot of people are really picky about specifically menudo. They can't, because it's a big process to do it, to make it. And then, of course, you have to clean it really good. So people are really picky of where they get it from. So you're not the only one. It depends on who makes it.
Who makes it, yeah.
Churros or flan?
Churros.
Okay. Valentina, Tapatio, Cholula, or Tabasco hot sauce?
Definitely, amongst all those, Valentina is fine.
Valentina. Okay. And the conchita breads, the pastries, do you like the brown conchitas, the white ones, or the pink ones?
I guess the brown ones.
Yeah, absolutely. The chocolate ones. They actually, they do taste a little like chocolate. Believe it or not, they're different flavors.
Really? I only go for the brown ones.
Yeah, we started, somebody had told me something. I'm like, do they taste the same? I'm like, I don't think they do. So I had to go and Google and find out that they are a little bit slightly different flavors.
Now I need to go get some.
Yeah, absolutely. Nice and warm. I used to, when I was going to school in Mexico, we used to walk by a panaderia and the smell of the bread just barely coming out the oven. Oh my goodness, it's so good. Okay.
Something else.
A conspiracy theory. This is a fun one. A conspiracy theory that you can almost guarantee it has to be true. When you heard them, like, that has to be true. No way it's not.
That's a great question. Owl. Well, aliens, they have to be true.
I think so too. I think the space is too big. Was the universe outside of us, that there's no way there's nothing else. Yeah.
I was thinking of the opposite, like which one is no way it is true is the people that believe the earth is flat.
Are you one of those people?
No, that's what I'm saying. They're the opposite. Like, to your question.
And if you are, I respect it, but I'm just saying.
No, I'm not one of those people.
The education system be failing us sometimes. Like, no way that they didn't tell us correctly that the earth is not round like a perfect round, right? It's more like an ovalish looking, but no way it's flat. Like, no way. Yeah, I feel you on that too. Okay, so whenever you hear the word Latino or Latina or Latinx, what first comes to mind?
Oh, confusion. Just to be
Confusion.
honest. Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
And I think it's confusing
absolutely.
sometimes.
I'll touch up back on something that you like better here shortly. So the next question would be: do you like that they call you Latina? Do you mind? You prefer to be called something different?
I think I grew up hearing the term Latina or where you mock the box, but I always felt more comfortable as a Chicana, I think.
Absolutely.
And yeah.
Tell me why though, because when you were growing up, it was a little bit of an identity challenge for you to know which way it was. So for you, Chicana was more suitable for you to be identified as if anybody was to identify you. Tell me the story why.
Oh, yeah. I love sharing this part of my life because growing up in San Diego, we're very close to the border and it's very diverse here. We do have a lot of Latinos and, but I never felt Mexican enough. My parents are Mexican and I was born in San Diego. So I was born in the US and I never felt American enough to fit in. And when I hit middle school and I was, I knew the term Chicano from being a kid. We would go to Chicano Park, for example. When I was there, I felt home, like I was at home.
Mm-hmm.
I saw the cultura and the mesh of the lowrider scene with the mesh of folklorico, los indios danzando, like all of that compilation felt like me.
Mm-hmm.
And I could relate to both sides. So uh, in middle school, I found a clique of friends. You find your little clique, and they were Chicanas, and that's where I felt at home the most. And I didn't feel like I was struggling to fit in with a certain group. I was just at home. I wasn't trying to fit in. It wasn't hard.
Yeah, that's true because that your statement and not only you but a lot of people always takes me back to that movie scene, Selena, when his dad's driving the bus and talks about how we have to be more American than the American and more Mexican than the Mexicans. Like white folks want you to know about things about the music and all that, and then Mexicans you have to know perfect Spanish and know about all these artists too. So you're like, it's hard being like Chicano or Mexicano or Mexican American.
Yes.
So it always takes me back to that scene because you're not the first one that expresses that, and I'll be like, that is so true. It is challenging. It is, and as a young person, you can see why it would be confusion to like these people are telling me this, and then my family and people that everybody around my family are this. So what am I like? Which way do I
Yeah,
go?
exactly.
So you know what? I'm just gonna sit right in the middle. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. And I'm a Chicana.
Yeah, and it feels great because I had my little opportunity in high school to experiment with the quebradito scene. I was in a grupo to perform with the whole tejanas and everything. So I had my opportunity to embrace my Mexican side and had a great time. Even dated a paisita and everything.
So
I don't
you
know if
did
that's exactly.
quebradita. You were dancing
I
quebradita
sure
from the
did.
world. Wow.
We
That's
got to dance with Banda Macho,
for real?
Los Tucanes de Tijuana. Yes, I was just a high school kid. It was a long time.
So they would just go like pick y'all and form the group, they pick y'all and they take you to perform with those acts? So how did that work?
Yeah, so one of our friends, she was putting together a group and she knew the people that owned the radio station
Mm-hmm.
and they wanted some type of promotoras. So they invited a group of us. We were volunteering. So for us, it was fun. It was like Mexican cheerleaders. I don't know. I never
Absolutely.
did anything or anything like that. So this was outside of school. And then they had the funds, I guess, to bus us places. So we actually ended up in Tijuana at this huge, concert. And they put us on the floor with Banda Machos and we had our matching outfits and doing our dance and everything. And that was like for one summer in high school. It was pretty dope.
That's pretty dope. And then Los Tucanes too. And those
Yeah,
those groups been big for even back then and now.
yeah, back then, I mean, you know what? I don't listen to that music anymore, man. I like the old school from back in the 90s. So now when I flippy channels, I can't relate. I can't get into it, but put me some old school from the 90s, with the machos, I'll definitely start dancing.
Yeah, Banda Macho, saw that. Yep, I used to love that too. I used to enjoy it a lot too. But the new wave of music is coming along. The Mexican regional music is making their wave right now. The whole world, not just Mexicanos, like the whole world is feeling the wave of the regional, which is pretty cool. But you're right,
Snoop Dogg, right? Snoop.
of course.
Like,
Banda MS, yeah. So they've been knowing what the wave is. It's just taking them a while to get around. Pero música regional, Mexican music is beautiful music. So okay, so your parents are you were mentioning earlier. Your parents are from Mexico. Your dad was from Durango.
correct.
Have they ever shared a little bit of their journey to the United States?
That's a great question. I wish I could have asked my dad more questions. I've never been too much of a probing person. I just let people share. And from what he shared mostly when he was at the end of his life. And so I couldn't squeeze too much out of him. But I found out some interesting things. I know he grew up in Durango. He was raised by his tia. And I don't know how he came over here, honestly. I should ask my mom those questions. I know they met in Tijuana, but I don't know his immigration story. But I'm so bummed out about that. He passed about 7 years ago. Yeah.
I'm very sorry for your loss. I do recall in one of the articles you had talked about that he had passed away. So I'm very sorry for your loss. But it's just curiosity if they ever share your story. But now you get an opportunity to ask your mom. How did your mom get here? Did she ever share with you either?
Yeah. So my mom, we're very tight, close. And she actually came here. She was born in Tijuana. And when she was about 12 years old, they moved to North County. Oh, well, it's like, I don't know if you're familiar, but in San Diego, and there's a little place called Poplar, California.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a little town. Everybody knows everybody's name. And they were the Sanchez. So if you go over there to this day and you say Sanchez, they will be like, oh, these were your tias. People know. So it's a little small town.
Yeah.
And that's where she grew up and went to school. And she shared that she struggled with, she didn't know English when she first started school here, things like that. There was a family of 12, so they had to save, and she didn't have the best clothes and shoes and stuff. So she struggled a little when she was young. But my grandparents they came over here to work. Como mucha raza, estaban aquí trabajando in the fields. And apparently somebody gave my grandpa some land that just found out at Tijuana. I was like, what? There's a lot. I mean, this is all stuff I'm just even finding out.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of is there a lot of field work in San Diego still?
Not necessarily in San Diego, but like northern, like Ventura County, places I've never been. But there is a lot of still farm work. And if there is any in San Diego County, forgive me if I don't know, because I know there's like a local farming community, but I don't know where it is.
So she landed in the little town, and that's where y'all grew up. But I remember you were saying that y'all did move a lot because she raised 7 children on her own, and y'all moved frequently, correct?
That's right. So she grew up there, and then when she got married, she ended up here in San Diego, and there's 7 of us.
7.
So she was married. Yeah, she had my beautiful sister Claudia. She is beautiful, not just because she's my sister. Bien morenita, bien bonita. Y ella tenía otro papá. And then, I'm sorry about rapidly in Spanish. Is that okay?
You good?
Okay. And then my sister, that didn't work. Like a lot of young people, they didn't work out. So my mom remarried, and she married my dad, and then they had 5 kids together. So my sister, Linda, I'm going to shout them out. They'll be like, why'd you just mention Claudia, right? And Linda, then me, I'm number 3. And then my sisters are twins, Elena and Angelica. Mm-hmm. And then my brother, Ernesto. And then when my parents split up, she ended up with this really cool Cubano, Ramon, may he rest in peace. And they had my youngest sister, Caridad. So that's how 7 kids came about. And she ended up a single mom here in San Diego. And so when she would go apply for places to live, it would just be her and one of the kids. And then they would give her the house. Usually we rented a house. How did you do that, Mom? We didn't end up in an apartment. How did you do that for us 7 kids? And but But as soon as the landlord found out, oh, you got a lot of kids, Miss Linda, I'm sorry.
Mm.
He wouldn't deny us. So it wasn't anything shady, but they just thought, oh, yeah, she's applying for this house. She got these couple kids with her. And then before you know it, we would outgrow these places. We would end up just moving from place to place until we landed ultimately in City Heights. For my high school years, I got to spend time right here where I'm at now, inside the shop. And that's where I kind of finished up my high school time. My siblings, everybody started growing up and moving on their own.
That's awesome. And then you were saying also that moving around did help you shape as far as your artistic style, your artistic kind of sort of direction, because you got to experience different kinds of things, right? Not only one thing, but you saw different places and it kind of helped you inspire. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yes, I loved it. I loved moving to a new school, reinventing myself. I grew up, I'm known as a Chiona of the family. So if somebody said something to me that hurt my feelings, I would cry. Then I'd be embarrassed. So I couldn't wait to move so I could start fresh. And I would make friends, but it seemed, I guess it's kind of a lot like military kids. They move, you get accustomed to it. And I would personally look forward to it. And yes, different parts of San Diego, they are very diverse. So you can go to one part of town and there's murals everywhere and culture. And then you can go to another part of town and it's just a whole nother vibe. Some places have a bunch of palm trees and you're like, dang, where'd they get all these palm trees? And some places it's just urban or, some places it's sad, if you guys seen anything about LA. There were sections here too where there's a lot of homelessness. So all of that just inspires you and to be better. And then for me, the art, the graffiti, the people that are out there, asking them questions. How did you come to do what you do, what you love? And dreaming like, wow, that's dope if I have some art one day out in the world. As a little kid, I didn't even have it, but it was inspirational being around so much culture.
That's dope. And so your art, because since you were a little girl, you always liked art. You were even the first one in line to try to work on like different things and shapes and things like that whenever you were in school. Where did that come from? Do you remember your first memories of when did you wanted to get into art or be into the arts itself?
Yeah, for sure. So definitely since kinder. I know it's so funny here.
Yeah.
But yeah, since I was little because, when they went to free time and you can spread out. Some kids go to the puzzles, some kids go to whatever activity the teacher had. And I would run to the easel and just pick up the little paintbrushes. And I thought I was so cool. And then I know a lot of artists frown upon tracing, but I think tracing is such a skill. It helps you build your skill. So, you would do your little assignment. And when I would finish, I would flip the page over and I would trace the characters because our little, your math pages or whatever have little monitos or whatever little characters. And I would start tracing. And the teacher was passing by one day. She's like, excuse me, are you done with your assignment? And I said, yeah, I'm done. And she said, what are you doing now? I said, I'm tracing. Sorry, And she said, okay, class, when you're done with your assignment, do what Lucy's doing and trace the back.
What?
So little did I know. And this is way before YouTube. So on weekends, I would look forward to, of course, everybody knows now with the Ferraro and Mr. Bob Ross.
Oh, yeah,
and
of course.
Right? He would come on public television and I would love to hop on and watch it. And if I had access to any brushes or paint, I would mimic his style, which so we're close. And then there was another
making the little trees and the sky, whatever the way he phrased that. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I would look forward to all that. And there was another guy that I would watch. I forget his name. But anyways, he would do some drawings. And I remember like, dude, I would get whatever paper was lying around, I would start mimicking those drawings. And then somehow my mom would always take in family. So I had older primos that would come stay with us. And I don't know if you know about the teenager magazines from back in the day. I don't know if that was a thing.
It does sound familiar, but tell me what exactly was that?
Well, I'm aging myself. I'll be 46 very soon. But back in the day, it was like today's Facebook. So one of these magazines that I don't know who was putting them out, but we would get them like from LA and different. You could write to them and submit your drawings. So there was a lot of homie, a lot of cholo drawing, a lot of jail drawings. So my primos would get those, and I would mimic those drawings. And I must have been about, let's see, 9 years old, trying to draw little cholos and stuff, and roses and all that.
Yeah.
That was me trying to draw.
So there was always a little bit of influence within the family of drawing, bringing those books over, those magazines that you were able to trace, and then just you, but nothing specifically stands out of why it sparked for you to just draw. Was there anybody in the family that you seen that were like, I want to do what they're doing type of stuff?
Yeah, I get not anybody professional, just, people in my family doodling. Even my mom, when she would be on the phone, back in the day, when you have your phone with the
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Con las comadres and drawing, and you would always see her drawing. So maybe, there was some inspiration there, just watching her and doodling and mimicking that behavior. But when I started noticing it was therapeutic was when I was more like in high school. I would draw some stuff out, and then when I would look at it, I was like, what am I going through? Because it would be so like always, my drawings always had a teardrop, like with the teardrop, I remember I did a drawing once with like a coffin and this girl crying in it. I guess that was my way of experiencing loss, expressing myself, because a friend had died in a shooting, things like that.
Yeah.
But I didn't know I was doing therapy back then. I didn't know even art was therapy.
So it was like a type of coping mechanism whenever you started to realize, now looking back, it's like those helped you cope instead of, I don't know if you were able to cry a lot. I know you say que eres la chillona, but at that time in high school, it's kind of weird to, express crying or not. So you found that some of those things was therapeutic for you to get those feelings out in the paper. And was it freehand that you were doing?
Yeah, I was freehand mostly. And I would always just draw faces because my bodies would come out so, like I couldn't get the dimensions. Like I never had traits, Yeah. So I'd be so annoyed. I'm like, I would draw the faces. And then my sister would come in and we're only a year apart. She'd be like, let me draw the bodies. So she would draw the bodies for me.
That's cool. How you team, which sister was that?
My sister, Linda. Yeah.
Linda used to do that. That's pretty cool. So fast forward later on, your husband got you a tablet because at that time you're starting to get into art because out of necessity. It was a necessity for you. First question would be, what would your art style would be like? What would you call it? Is there a particular style that you have that you call it? Or is it something different, abstract, or whatever the terms might be? Or what would you say your style of art would be?
I don't know if I would say I have a style in the professional world, but when people ask me, can you do a portrait? I'll say, okay, have you seen my work? It's more like cartoony. It might not look just the way, like, I know very talented artists. Some of my peers can make you look just the way you look right now,
Right.
And that's not my abilities. It's more cartoony, some abstract, I would say. Yeah. So it's more, sure. Something like this.
Yeah, absolutely. Little bit lower. There you go. Just like that, which looks amazing, by the way. And if you send me the pictures, we'll add the actual picture in the video so that way we can show it. And then again, so your husband got you a tablet because it was mostly and with a pen, and you started kind of sort of working and getting into what would be the digital art, right? And it was out of necessity because of what? Can you share the story with us?
I sure can. So, my husband was always the breadwinner, and I was always I was a stay-at-home mom since my kids were little. And that was a dream come true. But in reality, California, especially San Diego, like you cannot live off of one income. So I would always do odd jobs, babysitting. If I found something in the alley, and it was good stuff, like trash, my neighbors always put stuff out. I would sell it. If it was a suitcase or something, I'll put it for $5 and it would sell like that. And my husband's all, why didn't you put it for 20 or 30? Then it wouldn't sell. So I was always trying to do a side hustle. I would do Uber. At some point, he did get me that tablet as a gift, and he knew I used to like art, so he included the little stylus. So when I was home with my babies, no joke, my little girl would be taking a nap right here, and I'd be drawing, or she was napping.
Yeah.
And then family would visit, and they would see, like, "What are you doing?" I said, "Oh, I'm just doodling." And let me see another one, and I'm like, "Can you make me one?" Right? And so it's just for family. And then some of them would start saying, my husband too, like, "You should sell your art. Sell your art. You know, what are you doing? Just sell your art." And I'm like, "Well, look at this. Sell my art. I'm not an artist." And then fast forward to my little kids are getting older. They steal my tablet.
Oh.
You know, this was before everybody had their own.
Yeah.
They stole my tablet, but my husband Wally went ahead and got me a smartphone with a stylus.
Nice.
And I was able to just doodle on the side. I was in therapy. I was going through, actually, my father, when he was going through hospice care, he was in my home. So that was tough.
Mm-hmm.
So we agreed to have him in my home. I fought it, but I have my faith. I believe in Jesus. And I believe he wanted us to be there for him. Mm-hmm. And so me and my husband look at each other. We're like, okay, he's going to come with us. So we had a spare room. And when he passed away, that's a whole nother story, because it was such a beautiful goodbye from my dad. But he had heart disease. So we had him in our home. And I'd like to share that he was very stubborn, because the doctor said 30 days. Mm-hmm. And he lived 31.
Hey,
So,
31. I'm going to take his word for it. I don't think so, sir.
That's right. So, yeah. So anyway, the reason why I bring up that story is because my dad had a lot to do with me doing more art, because, you know, it's therapy. And so I was going to go ahead and go back into the workforce, because I deal with anxiety, depression. My history of sustaining a full-time job is very bad. So family was suggesting, why don't you apply for disability? You may qualify. You have the background, the medication, the treatment history. And I was like, all right, I guess, but this means I got to go back into therapy. So I reluctantly went back. And during all this, I'm grieving the loss of my dad, and I'm struggling with episodes of bipolar disorder. And the diagnosis, the last time I saw a psychiatrist, was major depression with bipolar tendencies. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if you guys know that big fat book that they refer to for diagnosing is fat. So I don't even know if that's the real diagnosis for me, but that's what they said. I was in a program that was outpatient therapy, and I'm very open about this. I don't mind talking and answering questions.
I appreciate it very much.
The program. Thank you, Crispin. So I would attend 3 to 4 days a week, 3 to 4 hours a day, and it was group. Sometimes it was one-on-one. I would meet with my therapist, the psychiatrist. In between, they would give us a little breather, and I would doodle on my smartphone. So I would doodle, and it was relaxing. Again, I didn't know what I was doing with therapy. I was just, getting out of my head. And my therapist walked past the hallway, and she said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Just doodling." And she goes, "What's that?" And I showed her. She was like, "Oh, can you print that?" And it's a piece I call bipolar. I'll send you the picture.
Absolutely.
One of my most important pieces. And it's a depiction of a reflection. It's supposed to be a self-portrait. On one side, it's all distorted and ugly. And on the other side, it's like a person that looks sad, Mm-hmm. But the colors are like black and yellow and orange. And she saw that and she was like, "Can you print that?" And I said, "I guess so," because we print pictures out of our phone. Yeah. It's funny how now that I think about it, I'm like, that's so silly, but I was so naive. And I said, "Yeah, let's go ahead and print it, I guess." So that night, I went to Walmart.com where I would get all my family photos printed. Yeah. And I printed the image, picked it up, and when I was holding it, dude, I was like, "What the heck? This is real? Like, this is real?" It's out of my phone in my hand.
Did you get emotional? Did you get emotional when you were holding it, like that tangible thing in your hand?
Yeah. It was an emotional thing because I was like, "What?" And to top it off, it's on a topic that is very close to what I deal with on the regular. So I handed it to her the next day, and she she thanked me for it and asked me a little bit about it. It's called bipolar. I told her the story, and it's somewhere sitting in a sharp folder somewhere in San Diego.
You should tell her that's going to be $100, please. I'll take Cash App or whatever you would like. And then you can put it on your folder there if you want to. But for the meantime,
I need an invoice sharp, huh?
Hey, right?
And yeah, she was grateful. We went ahead to finish our therapy for that. And to fast forward, a few of the sessions, they included art. I'm not saying because of me, but I'm sure as part of the program, they had like tools for us, and they let us freestyle some art. And my art kept coming out so ugly, like really ugly, like ugly stuff. And even the stuff on my phone, when I look at it, I'm like, what was my props? I'm like, a lot of skulls, half dead and half like just weird abstract stuff that I was doing. Mm-hmm. But I guess I can appreciate it now because I know what I was doing is processing and getting it out, whatever I was going through and the loss of my dad and all that stuff. What ended up happening ultimately in that program, because mind you, I was only there because I wanted to show the judge that I have issues and I can't work. But little did I know I was getting treatment at the same time, which is really what, they're there for, to get you treated, not to get you paid. So I was like, all right, let me do this. I went with the flow. I did all the assignments they gave us. I participated in the classes. And at one point, I was really opening up to the group. And the people in my group, I mean, I can't divulge too much of their stories because it's private, but I used to think, man, that person's got it bad. And at some point, because I started going through the motions and accepting this as treatment and realizing like, oh my gosh, I have a diagnosis. What the heck is wrong with me? I have 2 young kids. How am I going to do this? Kind of had a meltdown. And I had a room of 12 people in treatment looking at me, telling me that I need to get hospitalized. And I was like, what? Wow. Hey, I don't hear voices. Like, I'm not, And it was just, I must have looked so depressed. I'm surprised I'm keeping it together. But even my therapist, she looked at me and she said, yes, you can't drive home today. You don't feel safe. We want you to be inpatient. And that day, my mom had come, get my car. Mm-hmm. My husband was with the kids. We made it work. And I was hospitalized for 3 days. And I think it was just so much. I called therapy the emotional gym. Mm-hmm. And the emotional gym, because what happens when you go work out and you hit it hard, you come home sore the next day, right? You're like, oh my God.
You'll be tired. That's tiring work. The mind work that you have to do to process certain things, emotions and feelings and things like that, it's exhausting. It's tiring.
It sure was. And like somebody putting a mirror to your face telling you that you got problems. I was like, what? I'm just a Chiona, right? I mean, I didn't like being the Chiona, but now I'm like, I just want to be a Chiona. I want to have this bipolar stuff or whatever they're saying. Yeah. But anyways, that's how my art and the mental health issues that I deal with come together, because now I'm allowed to share my story. Some of my pieces immediately shout emotions. And I've had people cry looking at a piece like, what were you thinking there? And sold some pieces that I'm like, that bipolar piece has sold a few times.
Nice.
And this woman, she came into the shop and she saw that piece and she's like, ay, ¿qué es eso? Qué horror. And I was like, well, I told her the story and she bought it.
Oh, wow.
She's like, I'm going to keep it at home. She's like, I struggle with depression. I'm going to put it in a drawer. And I'm going to take it out when I need to remind myself there's hope. And I was like, what?
That's amazing, though. It's great, though, that your art is able to help her, even if she has a moment of weakness or a moment that she feels like she had no other tool before she got to your shop and she bought that painting. And now, if she is like turning on a movie or watching a meme or a funny movie, now she looks at your art piece that came out of your amazing emotions, and then now she looks at it and she can like kind of sort of be okay, knowing that there's something good. There's not always just like being depressed or whatever the case might be,
Exactly. Yeah, that's so true. It's amazing. It's amazing to me. I've been told by professionals like, hey, quiet down the emo stuff. You're going to scare away your people. Yeah. And I'm like, no, I refuse because it's opened the doors to so much. Like, sorry, it opens the door to more people opening up.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know,
That's good. And you're doing amazing work. If they're being touched in that manner, whenever they see a piece that you did digitally, that you printed out, and they get to be touched in an emotion and it helps them out, and you write, it opens up to more, then it's a beautiful thing that you're doing. So great work. It's amazing. Do you recall the story of somebody that saw a piece of art that started crying?
yeah.
And I don't mean to
Yes.
pick on you because I appreciate you very being vulnerable and be able to share. And it's a good thing to process emotions too, right? It's a good thing to, whenever it's time to let it out and not hold it back. So I didn't mean to make you cry. I am sorry about that. However, it is good to process and let it out. But do you recall a story where somebody saw one of your pieces and did get emotional, like you mentioned earlier?
Yes, there's this piece that I did. It's called Hidden Tears. And it's also another one of my favorite pieces. And it's depicting, it's a girl that's covering up. There's some chaos going on, like some abstract stuff. It's all digital art, but I had it printed on canvas and I took it to a show. And if you pay attention in the piece in the background, there's like some very big pictures, images that are put in of like pill bottles and razor blades. And these are symbols of like somebody who was contemplating suicide or going through mental illness and the pain and so on. And the way her body language is just like surrendering to this situation. So I had that piece at an event.
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for being here. We hope that you are enjoying the episode. Please hit the subscription, notification, leave us a comment, a like button. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Back to the episode.
It's called Pancakes and Booze. I don't know if you guys have it where you're at, but they travel and they find a venue and then they bring us artists to rent a space for the night. And they literally serve you pancakes and booze. So cool.
And then they have a bunch of arts.
Then they have a bunch of art.
Awesome.
So I was a super just brand new artist out in the industry. And I just took like 3 pieces. I didn't want to rent too much space. And then you hope to sell them. And then this lady, she came with her little drink and she saw that piece. And she's like, she got all choked up. And I go, what's wrong? And she's like, I'll be back. Don't sell it. Don't sell it. I'll be back. And I was like, what, with her drink? And me and my husband like, what's going on? And I was pretty new to the industry. And she, just like you said, she came back and she collected herself and she explained. She said, I want that piece. I said, well, why do you want that piece? Like, that's interesting. She said, a friend of mine took opioids and he committed suicide. And I apologize if that's not the proper terms. I know there's ways to say, like, somebody took their life, or there's other ways. So I apologize in advance for anybody who's experienced that in their family or friends. But that's what she said. She said her friend took opioids and committed suicide. And I was like, then you want my piece? She's like, I know exactly where it's going to hang in my hallway with plants. And I was like, no way. And back then, I was like $80 to take it. I didn't know the value of my work. I still don't know. But she took it. And yeah, that was like huge right there. So it's cool that you're asking me these questions because it's been a while since I've had something like that, happen.
Hey, still though, the fact that you were able to, at one moment you were not even making anything, to create it in a tablet, to get in the feeling of it, printing it out and touching it, and to actually make money, like, to actually be at that moment, a profitable artist, is pretty cool. I mean, like, wow. And the fact that, again, not only was just an art piece just to take and it looked cool and it was cool, it brought things to her that was going to help her cope with something maybe, and she took it home because it was for her, looking at it, was a deeper meaning. Her interpretation of whatever you capture there, it meant something for her to take home.
That piece, I went ahead and printed it larger when I started learning the value.
Absolutely.
And that was it's sold at an art crawl, and it's in Texas somewhere.
Oh, nice.
So the lady was visiting me and she came in, saw it, left. I guess went back around the art crawl, came back because she's like, I want that piece. So by far my highest selling piece yet. But that was pretty dope too.
That's awesome. That's amazing. When did you realize, or when did the light bulb go off that you were by doodling or doing art was actually therapeutic? Was there a particular one of the people you were talking to that you made you realize that that's exactly what you were doing, or did you just came to the realization yourself that that's what you were doing? It's therapeutic, and it was a way of you getting certain things that way instead of maybe taking medication or maybe whatever the case might be, or going to a therapy, and that's the way that you were doing it. You were channeling through that.
That's such a great question. In hindsight, I could be like, man, for the longest, but no. I mean, I was in a household of 7 kiddos, right? So I wouldn't really talk to my siblings about this stuff, but I would just go shut the door in my room and just draw. I remember drawing, like, we had a magazine, there was a picture of Selena there, and I remember drawing her, like looking at the image, drawing it. In hindsight, that was therapy. It was a way to escape, whatever you go on when you're a teenage girl or even as a little girl. Because I was drawing forever. Like, yeah, I remember family saying, "Ay, mira qué bonito dibuja la niña," I was little, so yeah, those are great questions. I don't know when.
That's pretty cool. But it's cool that you realize that that's something that you do now and that is helping you, better with the things that you battle with every day. So you were recently at a high school at a workshop that you were doing, and then you were sharing stories. And one of the girls, that was there, asked you something that you never thought about. Is that how did anyone talk to you about mental health growing up? Did anybody talk to you about mental health growing up?
Yeah, that question caught me off guard because nobody had ever asked me that. I've never thought about that. I've struggled with depression since childhood. Anxiety, if you don't know what that's like, the best way for me to describe it is like, think about when you lost somebody you love, they died, and you got heartbroken by a boyfriend or girlfriend. That's how depression feels like. And then there's no reason. So that's what's the most annoying, because you beat yourself up wondering like, why do I feel this way? There's no reason. You just feel that way because you're being attacked by this thing, chemical imbalance, spirit, however people say different things. Anyways, this young lady, after I finished my story, thought she'd go I did this presentation. Yeah. It was a PowerPoint. I had pictures and everything, even of my quebrada. I'll send you one of those.
Yeah, absolutely. Send it to me.
Thank you. So I was just like sharing my story, and I look up and I see all these young, impressionable young ladies. Boom, all eyes over here. And I'm like, oh my gosh, they really care about what I have to say. This is crazy. No pressure, And I was there not too long ago, like yesterday now. So a lot of them are in the high school I graduated from, so I could relate. And when I was done and we offered the opportunity for questions, before I think they were just more reserved. And honestly, I thought, man, maybe they don't want to know anything about this 47, 45-year-old lady. And then when everything was done, I started the workshop. Everybody's busy working, and this cute little cholita looking girl on the down low, "Can I ask you a question?" And I went over there and I said, "Yeah, what is it?" I thought it was going to be something about the art that I had them working on. And that's when she said, sorry, I'm just repeating what you said. When she just asked me, who did I talk to? Yeah, who did I talk to growing up about what I was dealing with? Because she says, I think I have something going on. I have issues. And I was like, oh, shoot, this is a lot. And I said, no, that's a good question, Mija. I don't know. I didn't have anybody to talk to. I was surrounded by a big family, but I didn't think to talk to them about it. I would just go off and draw, They didn't know I had issues until I was an adult. I said, but I'm glad that you're bringing it up, because do you have anybody to talk to? And she said, no. And I said, well, next time I see you, I'm going to bring some resources. I wish I was prepared for this, but now I know better now. I'm learning. And I said, let me see your artwork. It's beautiful. She's doing a great job. And I said, you know what, Mija, do you like to draw at home? She said, yeah. I said, stick to that for now until you get a resource. I would say talk to somebody. And she said, you know what? You're right. It does make me feel better when I draw. I was like, okay, so you're already doing it. You're already doing something, a healthy coping skill.
That's dope.
Because, some of us go the other route. We're angry. We isolate. We do other behaviors that are damaging, self-destructive, drugs or whatever. Thankfully, I never got into none of that stuff. I was just too busy, doodling away all the feelings. So that's what she walked away with. And I'm like, man, I feel so incomplete. Like, la regué. But hopefully it just opened the door for her to see somebody to talk to.
No, I think, not necessarily regala, because you wouldn't know that those deep questions could be like, these questions could be pondering in their heads as you're giving them the speech. But, it's a learning lesson. Now, first of all, it was great advice that she's already feeling good that she's drawing. And that's a good thing that she can focus on that for right now until the next time you see her, you have the material and you're preparing now. But it is a tough question because growing up, all these mental health things, a new conversation, new type of things are being mentioned now. Hardly ever do, especially Latino Mexicanos in a household. You don't ever hear about things like that. Nobody ever talks about maybe somebody has an issue, or maybe you might have an issue with it. We're way too busy trying to work and this and that to realize that there's any kind of mental concerns, and there's nobody to talk to, whether you're a guy or a woman. There's nobody to talk to really. So it's cool that she was able to talk to you and minimum give her that, and I think that's gonna help her for now, because it worked for you drawing, so I'm pretty sure that it would help her going forward until you get her additional stuff, and that she can educate herself more, and I think it's a great step for her to be able to know that it's a possibility I might have something,
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty cool.
That's cool. Thank you. Gracias.
Claro. So now you began to work on Arte De Luz. So you were telling me there's an interesting story about the logo. So that's your logo.
I know, girl.
So
there is. Go ahead.
So Arte De Luz opened doors on October 2020 during the pandemic. I'm fast forwarding when it got started, but there was a whole kind of different stories before you even got to that. First of all, let's start with the logo. Tell me the story about the logo.
All right. So I just ran into Arte De Luz close to when I opened my shop, and it's people like to think, oh, it's Luz because it's your name. I said, no. It's so fun that it is my name, but I have my faith in Christ. He's the one who gives us light. So it's art from the light. And in Spanish, this means art of the light too. Arte De Luz. And art from the light. So it's so dope. So it is art by Jesus. He's the one who gave me this gift of healing, gift of sharing, creating. And if you pay close attention, if you look at it this way, it's a moon. If you look at it here with the rays, it's the sun. Mm-hmm. It's got all the colors. God made that. And the black part is where the art comes from, which is the darkness, the depression. So I'm not embracing it per se, but I'm accepting it. And that's where my art comes from. The best of my art is from the darkness. Yeah. But God brings it to the light.
Okay. So before you got to 2020 and opening the doors for Arte De Luz, how did the story happen for you to even get there? Because there was a couple of things that happened. 2019, a couple of friends opened up, gave you an opportunity, which is Irma and Richard. And then, of course, the pandemic happened. But doing that, you kind of sort of found your way. Can you share a little bit of that?
For sure. Yeah. So when Cositas Bonitas in Barrio Logan closed, Irma and Richard and I were kind of like, we were so sad. We had built this great little family there. And they gave me a chance. Give this little Chillona a chance. And I rented a wall from them in Barrio Logan, which is a very prominent little art district, full of culture. And that's where you can go to Chicano Park and see all the murals on the bridge, like the beams of the bridge.
Yeah.
And it's now a historical landmark. They can't touch it. Let's put it that way. The Chicano spot for that part.
That's awesome.
So when I was, it's pretty dope. And I have memories as a little girl shooting hoops with my dad over there and being on the swings with my mom and stuff like that. So it was a sad moment when we had to close over there. But yeah, the pandemic, we all know it did a number on all of us, and especially on the art scene, because we couldn't go showcase our work anywhere. Coffee shops, breweries, everywhere we would go, pancakes and booze, gone.
Gone.
All of that, gone. So then I had already built this great relationship with my friends who own a print shop. And I came to visit and pick up some prints. And I was crying to them because they're my friends. And I was like, it's over. My world is so dramatic. And I like to joke. And I said, before the tear could fall, they were like, do you want the space next door? And I was like, what? So they acquired a little studio along with their shop when they got their space. And they were using it at the moment to sell masks. So they were selling, handmade masks. My mom made a bunch for them. They helped her out. And they were selling the mask here just to hold the space for me. Meanwhile, and they knew they wanted it for an artist. And apparently they had asked a few of my peers even. But as you know, I don't know if you know, it's really tough making art. So a lot of people turned it down. And it was during the pandemic. So when they offered me that chance, I called Wally, my husband, right away. And I was like, blink. And he was like, are you kidding me? Do it. So they were offering me the opportunity of a lifetime. They said, let's do a trial run. And these two guys have their print shop. They started in a garage. They have an inspiring story. And they offered me this chance. And I was crying. I was like, what do you guys want from me? And they were like, well, nothing. We just want you to succeed. Just succeed. And I was like, who are you people? Right. So they gave me a trial run. It was going to be a pop-up shop. It wasn't going to be up for everything. And this was in October. So I thought it would be like a holiday thing. Mm-hmm. So I put some stuff all up, had some of my mom's handmade items, some of Irma's stuff in here. And it was fun. And it was like a little office space where I could work.
Nice.
So pandemic or not, yeah, we kept it. And then my mom said, I can come in with you, mija, no worries. So then that's when I decided to jump in and commit. And who knew, 2.5 years later, here we are. We were doing some amazing things here, like some book signing events, because people were still wondering, what is this place? Even though it's a gift shop gallery, people are still curious because we're not in in an art district. Mm-hmm. We're in a part of town where people come, they pick up stuff and they leave. Like there's a jeweler next door. There's a piñata place in the front. It's little things that people come, they leave. They don't linger. Even the little restaurants, it's for the people that work around here. They go, they get their little torta, they go, right? Right. So we're not known for art. And that was part of our struggle here. So I'm going to share with you, I don't know when this will post or air, but we're closing our doors May 31st.
May 31st. Will probably premiere a little bit after. So you are going to be closing your door soon, because I have seen something about it on social media.
Yeah, so we are. But at the same token, my mom said, hey, God has other plans for you. Like, this is not for you, So I was like, what is for me? So because I've been, through all this, started as a vendor with a little table, worked my way to a wall, worked my way to a space. Mm-hmm. And honestly, that wasn't even my dream per se. So I was like, I can't get caught up in all that. And some people have asked, is it like an ego, bursting your ego? And I'm like, you know what? No, man. It's not even like that for me. For me, it became this whole community hub. That's what it was becoming. And that's what I'm going to miss. Not the whole, look at me, I have a shop thing. That's not me at all. And I know I probably come off that way because I'm always posting videos and I'm like, hi, I'm business. But I've been to business coaching classes and they teach us, put yourself in front of your brand, wear your stuff, represent.
How people are going to know what you're doing if you don't tell them what you're doing? A lot of people don't bother to look. And then anytime I see your videos, they were saying, I'm Luz, I'm an artist from San Diego, and this is that. And like, I know who you are now because every time I see it, so you have to always put it in their faces. So they make sense, the people that give you those classes, because even though if I don't want to put myself out there in a podcast or in a suit or talk in front of the camera, like how else people are going to know about this podcast if I don't keep telling them about it,
So true. And, I can't walk away without telling you one really, really cool thing that happened during the pandemic. Right? You ever seen the movie Mi Vida Loca?
Yep.
Okay. So one of my good friends, is very close to Sad Girl, which is Angel Aviles. And they had started a brand called Living Firme. And one of my dreams when I was starting to showcase art was to save up some money and go to one of their workshops, because they were doing these small business mindful wellness workshop thingies in LA.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want to go, but I can't afford it. And when the pandemic hit, they started going on Zoom. And I had already been stalking them, like, hey, I'm an artist. If you ever need artwork, I'm your girl. You know, I was already. And then they came to like a Latino film festival showing. They showed the movie. And I went just to go meet them. And they already knew who I was. Give me a shirt, like, here you go. It only took 2 years to get their attention, but now we're good friends. And they hit me up and they were like, Luz, you want to join our Zoom classes? Join us. We'll be your coach. Let's partner up. I did some work for them. Like, I'll show you a couple pieces. And my coach is Sparkles. Sparkles from Living Firme and Sad Girl from Vida Luca.
Oh, look at that piece.
So we got to do some dope collaborations, and some of the best like Chicano stuff that I've done has come from collaborating with those two ladies. And that was just an opportunity that COVID, sadly COVID, but gave me because I was home like everybody else. So that was pretty dope, like meeting one of your icons. Super exciting, and doing art for them. Like I gotta remember, where I started and where I'm heading. So
yeah. So I'm sorry to hear that the place is opening, but that's the place. So that's not Arte De Luz. Your Arte De Luz is a whole you and the company that you're running, So you don't have the brick and mortar or the area yet, but you are going to continue to operate, right? So what was it? Because I've seen a couple of videos of you in a different area. What is it that you're doing now?
Thank you. Yeah, so I want to do more of those groups like we talked about with the young ladies. I want to do workshops, but include the story. So sharing the whole struggle, the mental wellness, the identity stuff, growing up, not knowing the illness away and all that. And at some point, embracing both sides. Because that's where I am now. I can embrace both. And I'm proud to be Mexicana and Chicana, y Americana, todo. And I like to joke and say, whatever gets me the grant.
Humana.
Latino,
too. Oh, yeah, that too. Which one? Oh, you want to be Latina today? Bad. Okay. How much? All right. 5 G's, 5,000. Okay, that's fine. I'm Latina for today. You got to keep the business running. And it is true you fall under Latina, whether, you might not take in the label, but, they want to put you in that. They want to get you to check that box. Okay. Help my business out.
Yeah, But yeah, for sure, I want to continue to do workshops in the community. I've already built some great connections here. Awesome. And coming back to City Heights is like coming back home. So yeah, that's what I want to do. Workshops. And I'm still going to sell my merch. I need to work on my website.
I seen that you were working on a space of an area that you're going to be working with. Is that like a garage area and within your home, or is that something else, another different place that you have?
Yeah. And this last month, no kidding, a lot has been thrown my direction. And just like God told me to get my dad in my house, my suegra's not dying. She's fine. But she's getting older y más delicada. And I said, okay, I want you to come live with us, please. And so that used to be my office upstairs. And now I donated it to her. So I had to move my workspace to my garage. And I was like, oh my gosh, I did not expect all this. Moving my workspace downstairs. It is going to be cool because now I can open the garage door to ventilate, because I use a lot of machines with, the printing and stuff. It gets toxic. So I guess that's a blessing. But yeah, that's the workspace that I've been sharing with you guys. I hope to have it complete like this week. But yeah, that's my new office, my laundry room.
I'm glad that you're going to continue to do in business, and that you have other things, connections that you have, that's not going to go away. That doesn't go away with the place. And it's cool that you don't have that. You're right. There's a lot of ego about, I have a place and look at me. But a lot of the times there's just people from the outside perspective looking at that. It's not necessarily yours. It's always cooler and more. It looks more cool to have it. But the art itself, a lot of the things that you have are digital, and not to mention, being in TikTok and being in different places, you have to, you don't necessarily have to be at a particular place. You can, people see it in social media, wherever, and then you ship it out,
That's right. That's right. We have, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. You were saying, I'm sorry.
I was going to share, we have a big audience in Kansas City, believe it or not. There's a lot of Chicanos there. I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. Kansas City, Colorado, Kansas City. Oh, yeah.
I did not know this, but yeah, thanks to our time with my business coaches and stuff, we learned about going live. So one of my dear friends, Patricia Alicia, she's from my sister's closet. She does all the live sales for a living. So that's how we stayed alive. But yeah, we always pivot. Seems like we're always pivoting, me and my mom. So that's where I'm heading is workshops and working out of my garage.
Awesome. And one of the other questions you asked is, what advice would you have for an inspiring artist and entrepreneur?
Yeah. So that one is huge because that is part of it. So definitely learning when to let go of something. I've learned throughout my journey as a professional artist and entrepreneur. I've learned that don't get too comfortable someplace because God might have other plans for you. So you can let go. And I think sometimes I was clinging on to certain things because I'm like, this is it. This is where I'm going to park. This is where I'm going to retire. I don't know. And it's like a big wave comes and pushes me forward. Nope. There's something else waiting for you. No, there's more people you're going to meet. Don't get too cozy. And so that's my advice is just be ready to pivot, accept the good things, learn from the bad things, and just continue to grow. And I'm going to be taking my own advice because it's tough. Sometimes I'm like so tired. This how many times do I got to move? But remember, I used to love moving when I was a kid. So I will be all right. I can move again. And I'm going to miss my little spot right here. But just going to keep going. So yeah, that's my advice. Sigan adelante. I wanted to share this.
You have practice going on. What are you talking about? Life was preparing you for this particular moment right here. You've been used to moving all the time and you used to enjoy it. It's awesome that you're right. You have to be flexible. You, especially being an entrepreneur and putting your money and believing in yourself and things like that, and know that, if you have the belief of something that you're going to be doing, you believe in it truly with everything that you have in it, then the right direction will be. This is not, I don't feel like for you will be the wrong direction. It's just the way that the path that needs to line up with the things that you always wanted to do, that you are doing now, that you continue to do. I can't say that I'm a full-time artist because I'm not. However, you took the steps and you actually got in that direction, and you could continue to be a artist that is fully an artist and, has pieces that I can't get out even if I wanted to, because I don't have those emotions, that gift of having those emotions channeled through the pad and then bring it into life. But you do.
Thank you. Well, you have a wonderful gift of giving people this opportunity to share. Not everybody's willing to listen to everybody's story. So I appreciate what you're doing. And I enjoy seeing your posts and your guests. So it's also cool and encouraging to learn that there's so many Latinos, it's okay to say, and Chicanos y Mexicanos y la raza, those out there doing their thing and seeing all the shapes and colors and the different ways we can all make an impact. So yeah, this is a big deal for me. As soon as you messaged me, I was like, this is so cool. I couldn't wait. So I'm super excited about it. And I'm proud of myself because I was able to not cry the whole time. Believe it or not.
You did cry a little bit, but you can't be La Chiona if you don't cry. Just a little bit, un poquito, just a little bit. Okay, so we're running short on time. I really do appreciate the story. I know it's just a little bit of your story. There's a whole lot more. If anybody interested in knowing more, have questions, they could definitely reach out to you and DM you and find you on TikTok. But I do appreciate what you were able to share. I'm sure it's going to be helpful. So we are running short on time, but I have a couple more questions. First of all your social media, where can they find you at? And any projects that you're working on?
Yes, you can find me on TikTok, Arte De Luz, and Instagram, Arte De Luz with the number 1. And then Facebook, I'm just Luz Clayton. And working on, I also have a website, artedeluzsd.com for San Diego. And what I'm working on next is, more community partnerships. hopefully looking into getting some gigs with some schools and doing some projects with little ones and youth alike. And then I do have one piece that I'm going to work on for a charity, painting a record. That's what's on the top of my list. I got to paint on a record for a charity called Art Reach, and most of the proceeds goes to them, which they inspire. They are all over San Diego doing murals and stuff like that with kids. So
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Mhm.
And shout outs. Any shout outs? Anybody you want to give a shout out? I know you gave your sisters. You have all sisters. You have no brothers whatsoever.
My brother Ernesto.
Ernesto. I was gonna say, like, did we forget one? Because all I heard was sisters. Ernesto.
Did I say his name? Ernesto. He's awesome.
Okay.
Um,
Any other?
yeah,
shout outs?
sí, a mi mamá Linda García, y su esposo Paul Garcia, that they held it down for me here when I couldn't be at the shop, and we're all gonna miss it. But yeah, so much love to my mama, who's my everything, and I wouldn't be here without her, literally. And then a quick shout out to my friend Miriam Rodriguez, who's helping me with the community work that I'm doing, all the wellness work. And Alex Catano will kill me if I don't mention him. He's my great friend, and he's our social media guy. He does a little podcast in San Diego. He's a pretty cool kid. He's like 23 years old, making it happen.
Awesome.
So these people inspire me, and I don't want nobody to get sad if I don't mention you, bro. There's not a lot of time. Everybody who's helped me come to where I am today and helping me get to where I'm going.
They know who they are. You know who you are. If you had interaction with Luz, you know who you are. Shout out to you. You know you've been part of the journey as well. So,
Amen.
okay. So, one important lesson that you have learned in the art business that you would tell your younger self that would help somebody else.
Yeah, but before I do, Wally.
Oh.
I'm going to be like, wait to say Alex and not me. Yeah. Wally Clayton, my husband. Oh my God.
My husband, Wally. Absolutely.
On my tablet, you guys. He's my everything. Okay. And what was the question?
Absolutely. So one important lesson that you learn in the art business or entrepreneur that you would tell your younger self that will help somebody else.
Finish school. Go to college and get educated. Sometimes I feel really, really dumb. But I think school would have helped me with some of my stuff that I like, grant writing and speaking and things like that. I think I could have developed a little bit better. I stayed in college.
Absolutely. But being crafty, though, you've been crafty. You've been using YouTube. You've been doing different things and tools that you have. There's AI. I'm not trying to promote ChatGPT, but ChatGPT makes great proposals if you want to give her, like, go in there to ChatGPT and create some amazing things for you. You just got to kind of prove it a little bit. It's an amazing tool that is still for free for right now for if you want to create a proposal. I'm just saying.
Cool. So, all right. Thank you.
It's an FYI for you if you want to check it out. ChatGPT, I know you've probably seen videos about it, but it will write you something amazing. And you just got to put it your personal touch and proofread it to make sure it's good. And yeah, I'm all for the tech. I'm all for the tech. I know how people are scared by AI, but man, if you get it to use it and implement it, it's amazing. And yeah, of course, you can never beat whatever you're creating because they can never tap into whatever you are. But I know there's art with AI, but again, they will never be able to tap into who you are, the things that you have going on, and be able to express. But it's pretty cool to use some of the tools that are out there to, you know, help you with grants and different things like that.
All right, thank you.
Absolutely.
I'll check it out.
Okay, so this one's I hope this one doesn't make you cry, but usually when I wake up, I say a saying that I heard a long time ago: I'm not immortal, I am mortal, and I will die one day. And that's not to scare me. That's more to realize that I am not here I'm not here forever, and that I need to hurry up and do stuff because otherwise, you know, it might not ever happen. With that, I wish you a long, prosperous life. However, after everything's said and done, what do you want people to think about your life or to say about your life?
That's a great question. Man, you are right. It's going to make me cry.
I'm sorry.
I want them to say, it's okay. I have my little kids. And I didn't mention them, Penny and Wally. I want people to say I was a good mom. So I waited to be a mom until my 30s. And because I didn't want to give them this mental illness. And they struggled too. But at least I can say that I understand them. And they I would like them to say they had somebody to talk to, and that was my mom. And that's really why I do art, is for my family.
It's okay, and I'm pretty sure that I don't think they realize the sacrifice or the weight that you had to be able to fully understand who you were and be able to understand what was happening to you. That you were able to finally have. It's a big responsibility to bring people into the world, right? So a lot of people bring people into the world without even knowing who they are, or fully develop or understanding things that are going on with them, right? So once you kind of sort of maybe you not fully control it or whatever the case might be, or it like know that it's there. Maybe you don't necessarily have it treated all the way, or there's always going to be help. But at the end of the day, you wait for that until you were able to bring them. And not to mention the things that you didn't have. You didn't have nobody to go talk to. You didn't have, even the little girl kind of shocked you with like, oh yeah, well, wait, I didn't have nobody. Well, now they have somebody all the time that they can talk to if there's anything like that. And not to mention now you have the experience of what you went through to not fully understand it, because I think it's still confusion, but at least minimum know which way to guide them to be better off, and they don't have to struggle with the things that you had to struggle. So I think it's an amazing sacrifice that you're done. It's a great service to your kids that you were able to do that. So I'm pretty sure they would truly appreciate it, and I'm pretty sure they're happy to know that, they will have somebody definitely to talk to.
Yeah, just thank you so much. I needed to hear that. Sometimes hear from other people,
You're welcome. I'm sorry. I know that one's a little tough, but again, who are we? We're not people that have emotions and be able to express and be able to show vulnerability, and that's okay, because that's who we are as people, right? That's who we are as human beings. Sometimes we're like, we have to be this way, we have to be this way, you can't do this, and that's not okay, because you have to be able to do that in order to process those emotions and be able to get it out, so it won't be stuck inside of you and you do other stuff, for you or against you.
That's right. That's what a lot of people tell me. It's like wringing a wet towel, right? You gotta wring it out, and then it's light again. It's not so heavy. Yeah.
Absolutely. So you, Arte De Luz, Lucy, you have an amazing story. I appreciate you very much sharing from how you started, how you maybe your mom you might have seen her, she might have influenced you a little bit to finally getting to be able to print, as I mentioned earlier, the actual work and touching it and having this moment for yourself to be like, oh wow, like this thing could be something, and to be able to create your own company, learning about the entrepreneur with no school. Even though you went to school, you weren't able to complete it, but you still been self-taught and learning and developing different skills and talking to people and learning the ways of how to be an entrepreneur and an artist. I think it's an amazing story. And I know that you've been on TikTok and different places like that. And I'm pretty sure your art definitely sells in different places. You definitely, without a doubt, Lucy, you are a global Latin factor. Thank you very much for being here. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
This was another episode of the Global Latin Factor podcast. Remember, we are just like you. We are people. We are the spice in this melting pot that is the world. Till next time. Bye. Thank you very much for checking out another episode of the Global Latin Factor podcast. Subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much. It helps us a lot. You're already here, so give us a like, give us a subscribe, and give us a comment. We appreciate you very much. Thank you.
Walks like a pedo, but in fact he's a flamingo. Coming to Havana, Henry's from Puerto Rico. On a pirate ship, he don't know where do we go. The birds of the jungle.